What's up? What's up? What's up? It's your boy Pastor Ron, and welcome to my podcast, Faith Talk with Pastor Ron. Hope everybody's doing well. Everybody's blessed, getting through um this change, this new season, this fall season, getting through life, getting through all that's going on, back to school and back to work, etc., etc. I pray everybody's doing well. Everybody's blessed. Thank you for listening. Please don't forget it as you listen. I need you to do me a favor. I need you to drop a comment, drop a review. This helps push my podcast forward. It helps things get a little bit better and, more exposure. So please make sure that you put it out there and leave a comment, leave a review. These things help me out a lot. So again, thank you again for listening. What's going on? Oh, we got the Diddy, fiasco, I guess you would call it. It's probably one of the biggest things that's out right now that everybody's talking about. The whole thing with Diddy, man, and him freak offs and 1,000 bottles of baby oil and whatnot, man. Let's pray for the guy, man. He needs grace. That, as much as it's funny, and much as it's a source of jokes and people have their opinions, I think ultimately he needs grace. Ultimately, he needs to be covered. Ultimately, we have to know that all things that are done in the dark will come to light. So all these things that he was doing in the past and abusing people and all that, money could take you but so far. There'll come a place where the money's going to run out, and all you have to have left is your character and your integrity. And people are going to eventually begin to expose you. And I think that's what's going on. It's crazy how everybody's quiet and everybody, he's like the Epstein, right? The Epstein guy, Jeffrey Epstein, who had something on a similar level, but, with children and flying people out. I think his list is just as big in Black Hollywood or just all across. Diddy was a cultural icon. So I think a lot of people that he has names, it's gonna try to get him killed or something. Like I just pray that his fate is not similar to Jeffrey Epstein, because Epstein, to me, his situation was just funky, and him quote unquote committing suicide was just kind of iffy to me. So I'm hoping and I'm praying the same thing doesn't happen to Diddy, where he's out here, hanging himself and doing all that, and just a bad outcome. But either way, let's pray for him, pray for his soul, because either way, he has to also answer to God. And I pray this could allow him to get closer to God and to know God deeper. It allow him to repent of anything he's going on. Sometimes this is what we need. We need to hit rock bottom. Hopefully, it's not as extreme as this, where you're facing life in prison. But a lot of time, we need to hit rock bottom in order for us to find God. We got to lose ourselves completely so we could find Him. And it's a very good possibility that this could, be the same thing for Diddy. So let's pray for him, pray for his family, pray for his kids. I heard that even his kids, their passports have been revoked, man. That's how crazy things are, man. This is sick, man. So, and as much as the jokes are there, the memes are there, end of the day, it's a human being, it's a soul that we want to come back to God and want to be right. So again, I pray he gets right, and pray all as well for him. But I'm not gonna do a whole entire podcast about Diddy and his situation. I'm gonna talk about something that God has been sharing with me a lot lately. I've been sharing it with my church, and I want to share it with you guys for a couple minutes. And it's all about waiting on God. That moment where you're like in between from receiving the word and it actually coming to pass, from sowing the seed to bearing fruit. That in between season and waiting on God is very, very difficult. It's a season where a lot of people get lost. Like, people are hype in the beginning when they get the word. and they sit here and run around the church and have all this hope, have all the support, have all this dream and belief, or when you actually get the manifestation and get the fruit to come through, you're also pretty hyped and you're pretty like, okay, I'm getting my blessing. But the difficult part is that in between. The difficult part is to patiently wait for God and expect God to move in your life. The difficult part is just knowing and seeing years and days and months pass, and you get overlooked and you get disappointed, you get discouraged because your moment of blessing is not come, or what you prayed for did not happen, right? Like you sit there and you go through this, and the challenge that you find in this, that waiting season is often the most difficult part, and a difficult season in your life where you don't know what to say. You don't know where to go. You feel like quitting. You feel like giving up, but you know you have to wait on God. Sometimes in that waiting season, I know I've been in times waiting for God, and I had no support, and I had no backup. I had no one believing me. All I had was the word that God gave me, right? That the word that God gave me is all I have. No support, sometimes no belief, sometimes no faith, but all I am doing is waiting on the Lord. And one of the things that I'm seeing and through experience and through reading the text is that waiting is an active thing. Like, we often view waiting as a passive thing, but waiting is an active thing. Waiting requires us to be doing our part. Waiting is preparing for what we're praying for. See, a lot of time what's preventing us from seeing the blessing and seeing the promise is that we're not ready to receive what we're praying for. And that because we can't receive it for whatever reason, God said, let me hold off on giving you this blessing, because if I give you this blessing, it may turn into a curse. If I give you this blessing at a place where you're unprepared, it may be something that you can't hold on to or manage. And days and weeks after getting your blessing, you end up losing it. Or you get into your season of blessing and it just destroys you because you're so ill prepared for what you're praying for. It's like someone sitting here and praying to God for a wife or a husband, but you're not taking the necessary steps to prepare for marriage. And God is looking at you and saying, listen, if I give this person a wife, within a year they'll be divorced because he's not ready. So God allows you to wait because he wants you to prepare for your blessing. So as opposed to sitting here and pouting and complaining and getting upset as to why it's not coming to pass, use it as a time to self-reflect. Use it as a time to look within yourself to see, am I really ready to receive this? Am I really ready to walk into this relationship, or walk into this new job, or walk into this new place, this new ministry? Am I really ready to receive what I'm praying for? Can I really handle what I'm praying for? So a lot of us sitting here and complaining and getting mad at God, but God said, I'm ready. I'm God. But the issue is you're not ready. So I want to first emphasize that waiting on God is not a passive thing. It's actually an active thing. We need to be actively waiting on God by preparing for what we're praying for, by preparing for the word to come to pass, by making sure that we are surrounded with the right people, right? Because a lot of times what's blocking us is that we're around people who are not qualified to walk into our land of promise. Look at the people of Israel. The people of Israel spent an extra 38 years in the wilderness because God wanted to have the generation that doubted him in Numbers 14 to die out before they went into the promised land. So they could not go into the land of promise, though it was ready for them. God prepared it for them. They were not allowed to go into the land of promise until all the people that doubted God died out. Then they could walk into it. Isn't that crazy? Like, you're sitting there thinking like you're the issue, but it's actually people around you. And sometimes, like, it's tough. Like, it's tough to let go. It's tough to be like, you know what, yeah, we've been cool for 20 years, but where I'm going in life, you can't go there. It's tough. It's tough to make those difficult decisions or have those tough conversations. But you have to realize that you need to walk into your purpose. You need to walk into this blessing. If you're praying for something, are you going to allow a person, are you going to allow a man or a woman to prevent you from serving God and walking into what God has for you? Like, it's that simple. Listen, we're cool, but you can't be part of my inner circle. Where, I don't hate you, but where I'm going, you can't go. So a lot of time, what's preventing us from actually seeing that blessing, what's extending our waiting season, our waiting period, is that the fact that we're around the wrong people. And God is giving us time to let go. Though God is showing us these red flags, while God is speaking to us and saying, you can't be part of this group chat, you can't be around these people anymore. Though we sit there and go through all that, and God is like, yo, okay, are you ready to move on from this now? Are you ready to let this person go? We sit here and wait, and God said, I'm waiting on you. You think you're waiting on God, and God's waiting on you to have that difficult conversation, to make that decision, be like, yo, I ain't letting anything or anyone prevent me from walking into what God has for me. Like, you see, like, when you want something from God, you got to be that desperate. Got to be that hungry and saying, I'm not letting anyone or anything preventing me from walking into it. When you have a goal, when you have, you're believing in God for a blessing, a promise, a healing, a breakthrough. Like, you have to be that hungry for it at times. You can't sit there and be so passive and, whatever happens will happen, or it's not meant for me, it's okay. That's true. Everything is you ask God. So prayer is asking, not demanding. It's up to the will of God. But also, we need to do our part. We need to do what we're supposed to do to make sure that this is done properly. So I want to emphasize again that waiting is it's an active thing, like preparing yourself for what you're praying for, getting in position to receive what you're praying for, evaluating yourself and the people around you. That's part of the active process in order for you to be at the proper position to receive your blessing. A lot of us are out of position. A lot of us are just full of self-sabotage. Again, we're sitting here complaining to God and blaming God. God said, I'm waiting on you. And God, we know what to do and what we're not supposed to do. We know what needs to be fixed and, et cetera, but then we try to play dumb. We make excuses. We say, God, let's talk about this. I could fix this. I ain't got to deal with this. This ain't no issue. This ain't no big deal. And God is like, nah, you got to fix your character. You got to fix your attitude. You got to fix yourself before you walk into this place of blessing. So, I want us to embrace the waiting season, right? And like I alluded to a little while ago, that our waiting season is first a active thing, but our waiting season is a place of separation. It's a place of building character. So there's benefits of waiting, right? And in this waiting season, we sit there and say, God, what do you want me to do? Where do you want me to go? What do you need from me? Right? That we have to, but we're supposed to wait on him, not wait on him to do what we want. We wait on him and say, God, whatever is your will, that we trust you. We trust you. And in this season of waiting, you must seek God. You must spend time with God. You must fast. You must pray to say, God, is this your will? Like, what I'm praying for and I'm hoping for, is this your desire for my life? Do you want this for me? I know I want it. I know I want this house. I know I want this ministry. I know I want this. I want that. But God, is this your will for me? Right? Like, you seek God. So God said, God, is there anything wrong with me? God, is there sin in my life? Come on, guys. We don't like talking about sin, but we got to talk about sin. We got to talk about holiness. We got to talk about getting our lives right before God. That's why it's important to seek him. When we seek him, we say, God, look at me. Reveal me to me. Am I ready to handle this? Is there something that you have to take out? God, take it out. The Bible says, I believe in Psalm 134, the psalmist says, search me, O Lord. Right? That's seeking God. Say, God, search me. Because our problem a lot of the time is that we want to tell God what to get rid of. We want to tell God who to get rid of. No, this person is cool. I like this person. This person gets me free tickets to the next game. Don't get rid of this person. Right? And we try to tell God who exactly to get rid of. When God is simply saying, listen, I need you to change. I need your life to align. I'd rather not give you the blessing than to allow you to live to stay at a place of dysfunction, a place of living in sin. I'd rather bruise you than to lose you. I'd rather bruise your ego, bruise your heart, get you upset and cut you for a little bit than to lose you and not allow you to get to heaven. Because yes, we're talking about the waiting game and waiting on God and waiting for the Lord. But I also understand that what's more important is a life acceptable to God. We sit and talk about just waiting on God and asking things from God and that in between and getting that prayer. And sometimes even waiting on God and not getting what you prayed for. That's where trust comes in, right? I recall my mom being sick and I'm praying for my mom like, yo, God, I know you're going to heal her, and he doesn't heal her. I've been praying for things in my career and a job and I'm years now just waiting on God, but God doesn't come through. That's why it's important to trust him and to not seek him to do what you want, but to seek him. Because sometimes seeking him may cause him not to give you what you want. So we admit and we understand this waiting season is not easy. We admit and we understand that this season of waiting on God is tough. We also understand it's necessary. Even though it's tough, and God understands the toughness. It's why it says in Isaiah 40:31, those who wait on the Lord, he shall renew their strength. If your strength is not expected to fail while waiting, so why must God promise to renew it? We renew something that is no longer valid, something that fails. Right? So he said, listen, that strength that you have, I'm going to renew it. I'm going to make it valid again. I'm going to pick it back up. Because a lot of times waiting on God will cause your strength to go. I'm talking from experience. I'm talking from places that I've been where I had to wait on God. I'm like, yo, God, you're taking too long. God, this is not fair. God, I give you a deadline, but we have to wait on him. Sometimes waiting on God breeds disappointment and frustration and just feeling like overlooked. Like, yo, why is my blessing taking so long? But I think it's important that we continue to pray to God. Because you recall in the book of Daniel, they were praying they're praying to God towards the end of the chapter. And as they were praying to God, an angel came down and said, listen, Daniel, the very first time you opened your mouth, I heard your prayer. But there's a demon that is currently blocking reception of your prayer, the answer to your prayer. So keep praying, because your prayers is what's allowing the fight to eventually be won by us. That's how he got the 21-day Daniel fast, because he prayed for 21 days and then he finally got a release and received his answer. So it's going to be tough. The enemy's going to be busy, but God's still God. You feel me? God is still God. At the end of the day, he's going to help us come through with what we have to go through. But just wait on him. Just trust him. And don't forget that waiting is active, not passive. It's active. to learn how to actively wait on God and watch God come through. I pray this blesses you. I pray this encourages you, in your waiting season as you wait on God. Again, please don't forget to drop a comment, leave a review, 5-star, 4-star. Well, I don't care what it is, but that would definitely help push the message and push this podcast. So please do. Every single listener, please leave a comment. Please leave a review. That will help me out so much again. But thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your time. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. God bless you. Peace.